I think a lot of people would argue that engaging in colonization and implementing a patriarchy brought us the closest we could be to being quote unquote civilized, but I would argue that both of those things actually brought us further from it. They've both used immeasurable amounts of force and violence to impose entire ways of being and living onto civilizations that already had their own customs and especially religious teachings. That's when we begin to see erasure of things like recipes, art, fashion, languages, entire groups of people, villages, because of colonization and the patriarchy. We begin to see the prioritization of men in almost every aspect of life. Then emerges a more male-identified culture that values qualities like strength, control, and competition. Those things are in direct opposition to the matriarchy, which has always had a really strong emphasis on things like cooperation, community, and mutual respect. I'm going to give one example. I am, in fact, that friend who is too woke. The way that we treat roadkill is kind of abhorrent. Humans are meant to live off the earth. We used to be much more connected to it and its cycles. We used to honor it more, and coexistence with animals and nature was the norm. Now that we have cars and we have cities and whatnot, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have those things, but just the thought of running over animals who have been displaced by us because we've taken over entire ecosystems and, their homes is really sad when you think about it. Both can be true. We use cars and have cities. That's the norm. And the way that we just drive over roadkill and don't honor it is also kind of gross. Just because we have advanced technologically doesn't mean that we have done much in the area of ethics or morals as a society. We've made huge leaps and bounds and amazing advancements, don't get me wrong. We've done amazing things as people. But why did we use our good to create systems like 9-to-5 jobs and debt and taxes and things like that? We're always at war with each other, always in competition with one another. We could have used our advancements to help one another, to make sure that we all have clothing and food that we need and connection, and we could have spent our time just sitting on a cliff, just looking at the ocean. Why did we set life up to be the way that it is today? The way that we are living now and have been living for quite some time is simply unsustainable. We are going to have to learn to work together. The way that we're hyper individualistic, the way we don't honor each other, the way that we are forced to essentially conform to very rigid gender norms, the way most people don't have the basic needs that they need to survive. All of that tension is building, and it's going to reach a point where it starts to boil over. And that's if you want to argue that it hasn't already. Our survival as a species pretty much relies on us returning to aspects of matriarchal societies or indigenous living. We have to start taking better care of our planet. Equally important is how we show up in community with one another, because that is how we survive as a society. When we learn to just listen to each other and believe each other when we say that we're having a certain experience. For instance, being queer. Just because a straight person is straight doesn't mean that someone else doesn't also experience queerness. Or mental health issues. Just because you don't experience mental health issues doesn't mean that you get to invalidate someone else's entire experience. Cooperation, community, and mutual respect is something that we need to work on as a society, especially Americans. It's just simply not something that we were taught to do well. And it's okay. We can always learn. I am admittedly idealistic and optimistic, so I do have faith in humans, and I do hope that we figure it out. And then hopefully we'll have much more time for each other and for things like this.